Imagine, if you will, a loving parent standing between their child and danger, fiercely protecting them with every ounce of strength and love. That is how God watches over us, his children. In every battle we face, whether visible or unseen, he stands ready to defend us. But here's the key: we must have faith. Faith that transcends our doubts and fears, knowing that God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. When we feel alone, when the road ahead seems dark and uncertain, God is there, lighting the way and shielding us from harm. It's easy to lose heart in the face of adversity, to think that we are fighting alone. Yet the truth is far greater. We have a mighty ally in God, who never leaves our side. His promises are steadfast, his love unending. Trusting in him gives us the courage to face each day with hope and determination. God's love is not passive but active, shielding us like a fortress amidst life's storms. When adversity strikes, his love surrounds us, offering comfort and strength. It reminds us that we are never alone, and in his love we find refuge and courage to face whatever challenges come our way. Trusting God involves surrendering our timelines and agendas to his perfect timing. Often we want immediate answers or solutions, but God's timing is rooted in his wisdom and love for us. It requires patience and faith to trust that his timing is always right, even when it differs from our own expectations. Fear loses its grip when we dwell in the presence of God's strength. His power is far greater than any fear we may face. In moments of uncertainty or danger, leaning into his strength empowers us to overcome fear and move forward with confidence. Victory is not determined by our circumstances, but by our faith in God's promises. His word is a testament to his faithfulness and power. Believing in his promises fuels our perseverance and strengthens our resolve to come, knowing that he who promised is faithful. True courage arises when we surrender our plans and desires to God's greater purpose. It means trusting that his plan for our lives is far better than anything we could imagine. Surrendering to his plan requires humility and a willingness to follow where he leads, knowing he guides us with love and wisdom. Challenges and trials are not obstacles, but opportunities for God's glory to manifest in our lives. When we face battles, whether internal struggles or external conflicts, God uses them to display his power and faithfulness. It's in these moments that his light shines brightest, drawing others to witness his transformative work in us. Our weaknesses do not hinder God's work, but rather become the canvas upon which his strength is displayed. When we feel inadequate or overwhelmed, his power is revealed in our reliance on him. It's a reminder that God's strength is sufficient for us, empowering us to persevere and thrive despite our limitations. Like a strong fortress, God's protection encircles us, shielding us from harm. His presence is a constant refuge, offering safety and security in the midst of life's uncertainties. Trusting in his protection gives us peace of mind, knowing that he watches over us with steadfast love. Faith is not passive, but an active weapon against fear. It empowers us to defy fear's grip by trusting in God's promises and character. When doubts arise, faith reminds us of God's faithfulness in the past and strengthens our resolve to face the future with courage and confidence. Prayer is more than a ritual, it's our direct line to God's power and presence. It's through prayer that we communicate with him, sharing our hearts, burdens, and desires. It's a privilege to approach the throne of grace boldly, knowing that God hears and answers according to his will. Prayer aligns our hearts with God's purposes and invites his intervention in every aspect of our lives. When faced with challenges beyond our control, God invites us to trust him completely. He is our mighty defender, fighting on our behalf. Being still before him means surrendering our anxieties and fears, knowing that he will act in his perfect timing and with his unmatched wisdom. Patience isn't merely waiting, it's enduring with hope and trusting God's faithfulness. His promises are sure, and his timing is perfect. As we wait on him, our faith is strengthened, and we grow in our understanding of his loving provision. In the midst of trials, God reveals his faithfulness. He uses difficulties to refine our character, deepen our faith, and display his glory. Each trial becomes a testimony of his sustaining grace and unfailing love. Trusting God means releasing our grip on control and acknowledging his sovereign authority. It's a daily choice to surrender our plans and desires to his perfect will, knowing that his ways are higher and his purposes are for our ultimate good. God's peace isn't dependent on external circumstances, but on his presence within us. It transcends human understanding, offering calm amidst life's storms. Embracing his peace means anchoring our hearts in his unfailing love and trusting his unchanging character. Amidst life's uncertainties, God's promises provide stability and hope. They are anchors that keep us grounded in his truth and steadfast in faith. Holding on to his promises reminds us of his faithfulness and gives us strength to weather every storm. Faith isn't a one-time decision, but a lifelong journey marked by God's constant presence. He walks with us through valleys and mountaintops, offering guidance, comfort, and assurance. Knowing His presence is with us empowers us to live boldly and trust Him fully. Hope isn't wishful thinking, but a confident expectation in God's promises. Fixing our eyes on Him fills our hearts with hope, even in the midst of challenges. His promises remind us that He is faithful and capable of fulfilling every word spoken over our lives. God's perfect love drives out fear, because it assures us of His care and protection. When fear threatens to overwhelm, His love surrounds us, offering comfort and courage. Embracing His love enables us to walk in confidence, knowing that He is with us always. Perseverance in faith demonstrates our trust in God's power and provision. It's through persistent faith that we invite God's miraculous intervention in our lives. Believing steadfastly in His promises positions us to witness His supernatural work, experience His glory firsthand. Resting in God's sovereignty means trusting that He is in control of every circumstance. It requires surrendering our worries and uncertainties into His capable hands, knowing that His plans for us are good and purposeful. True strength comes from relying on God's wisdom rather than our own understanding. Trusting His wisdom means seeking His guidance in every decision and trusting that His ways are higher and His thoughts are greater than ours. God's grace is our sustaining power during trials and challenges. It's His undeserved favor that strengthens us, comforts us, and empowers us to persevere. In times of difficulty, His grace becomes our source of hope and resilience. God has a remarkable way of turning our weaknesses into strengths when we surrender them to Him. He uses our vulnerabilities to display His power and bring glory to His name. Trusting in His transformative work allows us to embrace our imperfections with confidence. Surrendering to God's will isn't always easy, but it leads to a peace that surpasses understanding. It's a peace that transcends circumstances and rests securely in His perfect plan for our lives. Choosing His will over our own desires brings deep fulfillment and joy. God's faithfulness is unwavering and constant, regardless of the season we find ourselves in. He remains steadfast in His love and promises, walking with us through times of joy and times of joy and terror. His faithfulness gives us assurance that He will never leave us nor forsake us. Trusting God's plan brings clarity and purpose to life's uncertainties. It's a confident assurance that His ways are perfect, even when we cannot see the full picture. Trusting Him enables us to navigate challenges with faith and hope, knowing that He is guiding our steps. True joy springs from the assurance that God fights for us and champions our cause. It's a deep-seated happiness that comes from trusting His protection and provision. In every battle, His presence fills us with joy, knowing that victory is assured in Him. God's love for us is limitless and unconditional, surpassing human understanding. It's a love that knows no bounds and extends grace beyond measure. Embracing His love transforms our hearts and empowers us to love others with the same selflessness. Faith in God empowers us to overcome fear and embrace courage. It's a steadfast belief in His promises and presence, knowing that He is with us in every situation. As we lean on Him, fear diminishes and courage rises within us, enabling us to face challenges boldly. God's provision is timely and abundant, meeting us at our point of need. He knows our desires and necessities before we even ask, and He provides for us with His loving care. Trusting in His provision allows us to live with gratitude and contentment, knowing that He supplies all our needs according to His riches in glory. Trusting God involves embracing His purpose and plan for our lives, even when it differs from our own aspirations. His purpose is rooted in love and designed for our ultimate good. Surrendering to His purpose brings fulfillment and satisfaction beyond what we could achieve on our own. The presence of God brings transformation, turning fear into confidence and doubt into faith. His nearness dispels darkness and brings light into our lives. In His presence we find strength, courage, and courage, an assurance that He is with us through every trial and triumph. God's strength is our refuge and source of rest amidst life's challenges. When we feel weary or overwhelmed, His strength sustains us and gives us peace. Resting in His strength means trusting in His ability to carry us through every difficulty and to provide us with all that we need. God's promises are the foundation of our hope, offering assurance and confidence in His faithfulness. They remind us of His unfailing love and His commitment to fulfill His word. Anchoring our hope in His promises gives us strength to persevere through trials and to rejoice in His goodness. Trusting God involves releasing our anxieties and worries into His capable hands. It requires faith to believe that He knows what is best for us and He will provide for our needs. Surrendering our anxieties to Him allows us to experience His peace that surpasses all understanding. God's grace extends to every aspect of our lives, past, present, and future. It forgives our sins, empowers us in the present, and secures our eternity with Him. Embracing His grace frees us from guilt and shame enabling us to live with confidence and hope in his unchanging love. Faith in God's goodness strengthens our resolve to persevere through challenges and difficulties. It assures us that he works all things together for our good, even when circumstances seem bleak. Trusting in his goodness motivates us to keep pressing forward with hope and determination. God's wisdom is a guiding light that directs our steps on the path of righteousness. It illuminates the choices we face and empowers us to make decisions that honor him. Seeking his wisdom through prayer and scripture leads to a life marked by integrity, peace, and fulfillment. Courage is nurtured by faith in God's promises, knowing that he is faithful to fulfill what he has spoken. It is the boldness to step forward in obedience, even when facing uncertainty or opposition. As we trust in his promises, our faith grows, and we discover the strength to overcome obstacles and fulfill his purposes. God's protection is a constant shield that guards us from harm and shields us from the attacks of the enemy. It is his divine presence that surrounds us with peace and security, assuring us of his watchful care. Trusting in his protection enables us to face each day with confidence and courage. Trusting God involves surrendering our desire for control and submitting to his perfect plan for our lives. It requires faith to believe that his ways are higher than ours, that he knows what is best for us. Letting go of control allows us to experience his peace and to walk in obedience to his will. God's love is the foundation of our capacity to love others sacrificially. It is a selfless love that seeks the well-being and happiness of others above our own desires. Embracing his love enables us to extend grace, forgiveness, and compassion to those around us, reflecting his character in our relationships. Strength is cultivated through patient waiting on God's perfect timing. It requires trust to believe that he is working behind the scenes, orchestrating circumstances for our good and his glory. Waiting on him builds endurance and fortitude, preparing us to receive his blessings in his appointed time. Victory is not achieved through our own strength, but through God's power and intervention. When we allow God to fight our battles, we acknowledge his sovereignty and trust in his ability to overcome any obstacle or adversary. Surrendering to his leadership guarantees triumph and brings glory to his name. Trusting God involves actively choosing his peace over worry and anxiety. It requires faith to cast our cares upon him, knowing that he cares deeply for us. Embracing his peace calms our hearts and minds, allowing us to rest in his presence and to face each day with confidence. God's faithfulness remains steadfast and unwavering, regardless of the trials and challenges we face. It is his reliability and consistency that sustain us through difficult seasons and strengthen our faith. Trusting in his faithfulness enables us to persevere with hope and assurance of his unfailing love. Hope is kindled and sustained by the certainty of God's unwavering love for us. His love transcends our failures and shortcomings, offering us redemption and restoration. Anchoring our hope in his love fills us with joy and anticipation for the future, knowing that he is always faithful to his promises. Trusting God involves resting in his sovereignty over every aspect of our lives. It requires surrendering our desires and plans to his divine will, confident that he knows what is best for us. Embracing his sovereignty brings peace and contentment, knowing that he is in control and working all things for our good. God has a remarkable way of transforming our weaknesses into strengths when we surrender them to him. He uses our vulnerabilities to demonstrate his power and glory, equipping us for his purposes. Trusting in his transformative work empowers us to embrace our weaknesses with confidence, knowing that his strength is made perfect in our weakness.